Mister here on YouTube with us wants to know if a legacy news story is ever done on you, what promo picture would you like to be used as the headline? So that's interesting. When people talk about you and they remember you, of course, and Lord, I'm not saying this is even remotely comparable, but when people think about Elvis, there's like young Elvis, and then there's military Elvis and movie star Elvis. And then regretfully, we got what's respectfully known as Fat Elvis. Now, we know that you're never in your career going to be known as Fat Double J, but hypothetically, is there a version of you like the only reason I think this is even a question of relevance is I know the Rhodes family perhaps felt a certain type of way that when Dusty passed, a lot of the footage that was used of him and the promo pictures and things like that were of the polka dot version of Dusty Rhodes. And I think longtime Dusty Rhodes fans would say, I don't know if that's really the best use of a Dusty photo to really explain or describe what Dusty was all about. So when you think about that in regards to your own career, Jeff, is there one era that stands out more than the others where you think, man, I hope when people think about me, they think of this version of me? Does that exist in your mind?
Ooh, that again, Mister, we're getting good questions because when you narrow it down to what promo picture as a headline, because I think about, we'll call it the USWA or the Memphis days, and then the Double J days, then the Slapnuts days, then the early TNA, and then the later TNA, and then the suit and tie days, and then, you know, getting into Last Outlaw days, all the different kind of looks. Conrad, God almighty. Again, I'll leave that up to maybe whoever's writing the story, but if it's a legacy news story, in a lot of ways, I think I hate to say this, but, you know, my story, pardon the pun, is not done yet. So I just kind of think that I've surprised myself over the last couple of years. So an AEW shot of me walking out at Wembley, I don't know that, because that was I think is a very unique moment. So maybe a Jeff Wembley AEW shot. I don't know. That's a good question though.
Easy question here from Instagram, a wrestling historian who wants to know, how did you get Kevin Nash and Samoa Joe to work together following their backstage incident? Of course, if you're not familiar with this, there was a pretty famous moment in TNA history where there was a pay-per-view where Scott Hall was advertised and promoted, and for whatever reason, he did not make the shot. So Samoa Joe came out with a microphone and said a few words that were maybe perhaps not too favorable or kind to Mr. Hall. And I guess when he came backstage, Scott Hall's best friend, Kevin Nash, had something to say about that. As the story goes, there was some physicality involved. So it does feel like there were hurt feelings, and this could be a difficult situation to navigate. How difficult was that for you from a TNA perspective to navigate Samoa Joe and Kevin Nash working together again post Scott Hall incident, Jeff?
A wrestling historian, this should not surprise me at all that you would dig into this kind of question, and I appreciate you here on the chat digging into this one. You know, a lot of people may or may not be aware, but of what I'm about to say is that I'm close with both those guys. Got obviously Kevin since '93. We met at an airport when we first started and just hit it off and did a lot of traveling together. And then Joe, he came on board, obviously worked very close with him. But both guys, but they both, ironically, or maybe not ironically, they both have this trait in that at the end of the day, they really are all about business in so many ways. You know, Joe, at a very young age with his family, you know, they were performers. Kevin, you know, you can hear his stories, and, you know, played ball and was in the military, and then Atlanta and bouncing, and then he got his break. But man, he's all about business. Both those guys really, really, really understood business, and they both at times had a trigger temper. And so when they had their scuffle and everything, I kind of think both of them went to bed that night not pissed off. They got it out of their system. Joe said what he felt he needed to say. Kevin defended his buddy, did what he needed to do. And they, to my recollection, I don't think there was ever a big issue that one was walking. It was, I want to say my piece. I'm pissed off about it. But they're both, to this day, both so business minded that there was never really in consideration. We got to figure out how to work together. And they are both men, grown men, and came to work and said, we're going to do this because they like money more than they dislike the situation.
We got to do another great question here. And this is from Andrew Dice Clay, who says, knowing how the ball TNA was under the Jarrett regime in terms of, no, let me start over. Knowing how on the ball TNA was under the Jarrett regime in terms of getting international deals, does Jeff think TNA could have gotten a Saudi deal before WWE if he remained in control past the year 2009? What a great question.
That is a what if and a hypothetical. And you always the man that's a deep one. But I really think that it had to do more, not so much with WWE. I think it has everything to do with Saudi and their mindset on I don't say branding their country as far as a tourist attraction, because it's not just the WWE. It's boxing, it's live golf. There are so many different things that are in the past pipeline that you can kind of see grow. But I think that it isn't slowing down, folks. There is more and more and more coming. You know, we did those shows at TNA in Abu Dhabi, and we had definite interest. And, you know, internally there were folks internally in TNA, oh, those shows will never happen. Those shows will never happen. Well, they took place. It wasn't the best of circumstances, but it goes without saying, if you've ever been to Dubai, that area of the world, man, in a lot of ways, it's beautiful. And there's incredible finances and funds and commerce. I think in a lot of ways it was a matter of time. I can say this, Ian, if I would have stayed there and still been in a position of power, better believe I'd have tried.
Don't we all love summer vacation, relaxing, laying out by the pool, barbecues, hitting the beach, doing, well, nothing? Well, how about a summer vacation from your house payments? With SaveWithConrad.com, you can do just that. Reduce your monthly payments by making the equity you built up in your home work for you. You can roll together those high interest rate credit cards into one lower monthly payment, and perhaps access some of that newfound equity to turn your house into your dream home with no money out of pocket. And how about this? You get to skip your next 2 house payments. That's right. You won't have to make your June or your July house payment. You're done until August 1st. Go right now to SaveWithConrad.com. Let my team run the numbers for you for free. There's no obligation, and if we can't help you save some cash, we won't waste your time. And did I mention we're offering a 3-year guarantee right now? That's right. That means if at any point interest rates improve over the next 3 years, you get a free refi. That's right. No new lender fees from us. So you get to save money now without wasting money later when the rates improve on a whole second set of closing costs. Why not go to SaveWithConrad.com and get a guarantee? Save money now and save money later with your friend in the mortgage business. That's me, Conrad Thompson at SaveWithConrad.com. Shoot me an email at Conrad@SaveWithConrad.com. Give us a call at 888-425-0105. Or get yourself a quick quote, even talk to a live person right now at SaveWithConrad.com. NMLS number 2129, equal housing lender. Let's take a summer vacation from house payments at SaveWithConrad.com.